Welcome to the Paddock the Goals. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands from which we're broadcasting and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. It is indeed a big welcome to everyone in the Bloke community to the second of 10 vodcasts, the Paddock the Goals, a flood recovery series brought to you by the Bloke Shire Council and today in partnership with the North Central Football League, Witchy-Proof Narrowport Demons, Road Safety Promotion Australia, Rural Financial Counselling Service, Charlton Traffic Safety Education Centre, and with funding from the support of the amazing team in Emergency Recovery Victoria. This is our second presentation and we'll be with you for the duration of the North Central football, hockey and netball season. Our discussions aim to improve our understanding of the October 2022 flood event and document lessons learned and emphasise the role of local activities and organisations in promoting community connections. Vodcasts can be a more inclusive and accessible way for those who may face barriers to access information, such as our vulnerable people, those with disabilities or constraints that make attending events difficult. Today's episode has somewhat a focus on roads and road safety. And as Victoria's agricultural heartland in Paddock, our road network is life. Council has a road network of some 5,300 kilometres. That is, and I'm not making this up, Witchy-Proof to Jakarta or to the South Pole or to Christchurch and back. And then there is a further 747 kilometres of state government-controlled road within Paddock Shire. You all know too well, as a result of that flood event, there's been significant damage to Council's road network and impacts on our community who travel these roads today to be at the footy. So let's talk about it. We had a big week one, and we're looking to back it up in round two. So let's bounce the ball in today's first quarter and bring in our first two guests. It's a very good afternoon to Shane O'Shea from the Paddock Times. G'day, Shane. A bit of almost Scotty Palmer punchlines about the background there.
I'm in the newsroom. We've just got Friday's edition out, and we're building up for Saturday, another big weekend of sport.
Great. We'll talk about what people might see in the pages of the Paddock Times for round two of the North Central Football League. I'd also like to introduce Jenna Allen, who herself is from a famous sporting family in the McNichols and is back into another season on court for the Witchy-Proof Narrowport Demons. And Jenna's also Council's Manager of Community Services. G'day, Jenna.
Hello.
I might start with you, Shane. What were your takeaways from a big round one in the North Central Football League?
Well, I don't think I can remember starting a season with drizzling rain all day. I think the farmers thought it was fantastic. It probably took a little bit away from the general standard of games, but what a way we've got moisture in the ground now. Our footy, hockey and netball's underway, and we can really look forward to a positive year.
Nullarbor measured up. We were both at George Cartwright Oval to see them measure up on court and on field.
I might have fallen for the three-card trick. I've been listening to too many people from Nullarbor who said, we just might win a game or two in our first season in. Well, they've done more than that. They're setting the pace now. I was very impressed. I only saw the first half against Birchip Watcham, but very impressed with their game style. And that'll stand up very well in North Central conditions against all comers. They play fast, hard and physically tough football, but they're very skillful and very fast. And, they showed that against our reigning premiership team in Birchip Watcham, who have lost a few players, but they've also gained some. So the Bulls will be thereabouts, but look out for Nullarbor. And also on the netball court, they showed them very talented over that way too, winning the A grade. And it augurs well. And the Nullarbor people, talking to them last Saturday, are delighted to be with us. But they're also very proud people, and they want to win. And they've started on the right foot.
Yeah, they got off on winning ways. Are there any other results that stood out to you across round one, Shane?
Witchy Narrowport. They in difficult conditions. I think the day might have suited them, but they put the pressure on Donald, and the Royal Blues weren't quite up to it. Wedderburn had the better of Charlton. I think Charlton might have lost their captain, Reece Thompson, with a serious knee injury, so that doesn't help them. But Sam Barnes coming back for Wedderburn certainly adds to their firepower. And in the night game, it was a pretty low-scoring affair, but Sea Lake and Daly showed they'll be a strength to be reckoned with. And Board also performed pretty well. I was impressed with the scores as they came through. So, yeah, all's looking good for a very enjoyable and very competitive season.
So from inside the newsroom at the Paddock Times, a big round two, Charlton v Bort, Nully at home to St Arnaud, Sea Lake Nandaley v Birchip Watcham. So they'll renew their rivalries. And and Witchy-Proof Narraport taking on Wedderburn. What are we expecting in round 2?
Well, Nulla will get to unfurl its 2022 Golden Rivers Premiership flag, and on the showing of the Maroons last weekend, they should make it 2 from 2. I haven't seen Sonata, but heard reasonable rumours that they're going to be a bit competitive, but Nulla will, for my liking, a little bit above competitive. They're going to be thereabouts. I think the game at Sea Lake will be a ripper between the Tigers and Birchie Watson Bulls. Trevor Ryan, I want the Bulls to step up from what was a disappointment last weekend. But Billy McGuinness and Bryce Delmenico, the joint coaches at Sea Lake, they'll be looking for a big game too. So it's nearly a finals-like atmosphere. It'll draw a big crowd. Charlton and Bort, that could be a very interesting game. Charlton's got a chance to rebound, and Bort also the chance to break the ice. And Witchy and Wedderburn both had wins last week, and it'll be I think that the rivalry between the two is always very strong, and at Witcher-Proof, it'll a real crowd pleaser.
Promises to be another fascinating round in the North Central Footy League. Jenna, how have the Demons girls pulled up from round 1, and how did you fare? What did you think of the efforts at Donald on Saturday last week?
Yeah, no, I'm officially the oldest player with Witchy-Proof Narraport this year, so I can take that firm position of whinging the most about how sore I am each week and giving out unsolicited advice and all that sort of thing. Fairly sore. Round 1's always tough, but it was nice in the weather conditions we had to be indoors at Donald. So, but no, look, fast-paced indoors, it's a very different game, so it was good to get that one over and done with. And, looking forward to hosting Wedderburn this weekend. But look, we've had a really great injection of talent this year at Witchy. We've got a lot of new faces, which means a fresh start for everyone. Netball's a bit different to footy with only 7 on court and no regular rotation, so you've sort of got to adjust. But it's been really great to have some new girls involved this year.
Great to hear. Shane, last week you spoke about the advantages of the North Central Football League having 3 codes, football, hockey and netball, so the whole family can pack up and travel to the sport either at home or away. We have half of our communities travelling away each week to participate in sport and other activities. How important are our roads for our communities, for connection, for work and for industry?
Vital. It's vital we have good roads. And having driven on some over recent weekends and weeks, the floods and the wear and tear from traffic has left them in a pretty ordinary state in some parts. I noticed coming back from between Sea Lake and Birchip, the drop-off there was about 5 to 10 centimetres, which and it's a narrow road, if you're travelling at pace, it can cause problems. The highways, there's potholes, but just the importance of the roads, like you put your life in your own hands when you're driving your car to the football, you've got your family with you. So we need an infrastructure that meets the requirements, even if it's not a lot of traffic compared to metropolitan. Our roads are just as important. And every weekend, as you said, we've got our families heading off a half an hour drive to the nearest town probably, or some cases an hour or a bit over an hour. So we spend a lot of time on the road every weekend. So we desperately need good roads and good services to drive on.
And Jenna, a similar question for you, really. Witchy-Proof Narraport Club, located largely in the centre of the league, but a lot of your teammates would travel distances from outside the Shire, from other localities as well. You've got a young family. You travel a lot in your life with your husband and with work as well. What are you seeing about the importance of our roads for that community connection, for people's work, for the agriculture industry as well?
Yeah, I think it's really important to shine a light on the heavy dependence that we have on the safety of our roads. As a mum, I've got three young kids, and particularly in their younger years, you're often travelling on your own with young kids in the car at high speeds for long distances to access services out of town, and it can be quite stressful if you're sharing the roads with heavy machinery, if it's wet, if it's dark. It can be quite stressful. After trainings, we've got a big contingent that come from Bendigo up to Witchy-Proof every Thursday for trainings. So that's, coming up after a day of work on the road for an hour and a half to Witchy and then an hour and a half back late at night. and then again on Saturdays to wherever we're playing. So it's really important that those that are committing and coming up to share the connection with Witchy and all of the great things that, sport provides us, that we get there and home again safely.
We heard from one of our colleagues, Jenna, Senior Manager of Flood Recovery, Dan McLaughlin, in our vodcast last week, explained that our roads were built for those 7-ton Bedfords, not the big B-double trucks and school buses and that big machinery you touched on. It's not built to withstand this traffic, let alone the damage caused by the floods. As we go into this reconstruction phase of our flood recovery, I think it'd make more sense to expand resheeting the extra 2 metres out to 6 metres, as we have in Council's road management plan, whilst road crews are there. This would improve that safety element that you've both touched on for transport to take our food to the city, to those markets and other road users such as travellers from the city that might be coming camping, coming to Beloke or through Beloke up to the Murray River. This betterment's not been factored into the funding options though, so Council is advocating for funding which accommodates the circumstances with one small rural rate base. So tell us about your experience and what you're hearing, Jenna, in the community about sharing the roads with those big moving vehicles and how the current damage is really impacting on the ability to commute through Beloke Shire.
Yeah, it's really important to acknowledge that, farms have expanded. The intensity of farming on its own has grown drastically, particularly since the millennial drought, for instance. But, we've got, for instance, a group of partners that will come into our area quite regularly and then sort of try and adapt to Beloke life and everything that comes with Beloke life and travel. If you're, for instance, I've got a lot of friends who are nurses, so as I touched on before, trying to raise a young family also, whether they're studying or doing nursing placement or teaching placement or working in other areas. I was a property valuer for a long time before starting work with Beloke Shire Council, so I spent a really long portion of my working career in the car. It's really important in areas like Beloke. As I said, it's not only sort of long distances at high speeds, but it is what you're sharing it with. So it's, as Dan touched on last week, it's school buses sharing it with, B doubles. We've got sprayers going across road networks. We've got sheep being moved regularly. Ricky's out there regularly moving sheep across that Witchy Birchip Road. There's potholes everywhere, and we've also got, kids on the outskirts of town trying to get to where they're getting to as well. So it is really important to make sure that we're supporting our partners are on farms that are, in other professions as well.
Council's advocacy strategy is available on our website too, so you can check out what Council is exactly advocating for when it comes to betterment and the Donald, another mechanical levy for Donald as well on the back of the October 2022 flood. Thank you, Shane, and thank you, Jenna, from the Council offices in Birchip and from the newsroom in Donald. We've set it up really nicely on our second episode of the Paddock the Goals.
And thanks you for the opportunity to take part in it, Travis. Well done.